Good morning, everyone. We'll begin shortly here in a moment. Okay, let's get started. Good morning and welcome everyone to this webinar. Prosperity Indiana is pleased to offer this webinar, which is sponsored today by Fifth Third Bank. We have a little over 50 individuals participating and representing a variety of groups this morning, from community development corporations, affordable housing groups, human services agencies, community foundations, United Ways, federal, state, and local units of government, financial institutions, and the list goes on. And we're all here to just share about how this crisis is impacting our organizations and to have a conversation around how it's impacting each of you, as well as your organizations. So a few brief housekeeping items. On the control box, you'll have an opportunity to raise your hand if you want to speak. I'll take you off of mute and you can answer the questions that are posed. You can share what you're doing, share ideas, those sorts of things. Or you can type your questions into the box, and we will share those with the group, and your peers can help answer them. So let's begin with just a fun little poll here, just to kind of break the ice and check the vitals of everyone this morning. So the first question I have is, how are you feeling? And the responses can be, I'm great, I love working from home, hey, I'm okay, or I can't wait for this crisis to end. So here is the poll for you to take right now. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. And as you can see, most people are okay, but many of you just can't wait for this crisis to end. And I feel the very same way. I'm ready to get back to the office to see my colleagues on a daily basis and to just be able to be present for all of you. So let's go to our first, another poll question that I have. And that is, our first question is, how concerned are you about the current environmental, economic, and social conditions on your organization? And the responses are not at all concerned, somewhat concerned, or very concerned. And I'll open that up right now. 66% of you say you're somewhat concerned, and 34% say you're very concerned. Does anyone want to share, the concerns that you have at this time? We can open it up to the group to have a conversation around that. Just remember to raise your hand, and I'll be happy to take you off mute for you to be able to share with your peers. Linda Witherow, you're on.
Hi there, this is Linda Withrow. I'm with Hamilton County Kids Coats. And although we don't hand out winter coats until November, it is a gathering situation where families come and shop for coats together and requires hundreds of volunteers. And I'm concerned how to do that without gathering.
Thank you, Linda. Angela Blake? One moment here. Okay, Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Angela Blake. I'm the Assistant Director of Guest Services at St. Margaret's House in South Bend, Indiana. We are a day center for women and children. We're open Mondays through Friday from 10 to 4 every day. Our main focus is immediate needs. So we serve a lot of women with food, clothing. We're not a food bank, but we actually serve food. We have a continental breakfast and a lunch. Clothing, showers, laundry facilities. So just from that standpoint, carrying on with basic necessities for these people obviously has been suspended. So that's a really big concern for us, is how we can still impact the community. Right now, we're doing a kind of a drive up or walk up food service every day for lunch, so people can still come to us and get lunch. But for other things, like we have about 25 to 30% of the women we serve are shelterless. So we're worried about, if they're getting proper hygiene, if they're able to shower, if they're able to wash, the 2 or 3 outfits that they have, which is what a lot of our regular guests do. On top of that, we also are a donation-driven service. So since we are suspending our intake of donations at the moment, that has become a concern. If we're running short on hygiene products they hand out to people, we are able to so far run okay with our food distribution, but a lot of our food was also donated by area grocery stores and restaurants. So with them experiencing a high volume of people, emptying their shelves, we're having, to pay more out of our budget to buy more food, and we're trying to, balance where that can go, as far as being able to continue purchasing food, getting food donated, and also with the stock market issues, again, because we are mostly donor driven. A lot of our donors are skittish about donating at the moment. So for long term, we're really worried. We don't know, if this goes on for another 4 weeks, we're pretty much going to be strapped.
Thank you. That we appreciate those 2 comments. I think that there's a good follow-up question. You mentioned regarding Angela, regarding the sort of pullback from donors. What are funders saying to your organizations at this particular time? Would anyone like to share what they're hearing from funders? what funding might look like in the future for your organizations as a result of this crisis?
At the moment, generally we haven't really had much of a direct mention from our large donors or supporters, excuse me, saying that the need would have to be reduced as far as their, I think that they are continuing to donate. I think the amount that they would donate would be an issue. Um, as far as our individual kind of like community-based donors, the ones who maybe I hate to say it, but maybe they feel their donation is menial, which it is not. Every dollar counts. I'm sure as a lot of you on here know. We have people that can't do their $100 a month. They're a little nervous about that, or and that's really impacting the things that we can do on a day-to-day basis. So that it's kind of so far it's been okay, but we're just worried about stretching it out for the long term.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to let everyone know that in a few weeks, we will be having a webinar on fundraising, and we're going to have someone, a top, someone from the fundraising field who will speak on these particular issues as funding impacts organizations during this particular pandemic. Anyone else want to add what funders are saying to you, what you're hearing in your communities? Linda, did you have something else you'd like to say? Right. What new issues and challenges have emerged for your organizations as a result of the pandemic? Anyone want to answer that, take a swipe at that question?
I'm seeing, this is Jessica, that Marie has raised her hand.
Yes, Marie? Marie Morris? Okay. Would anyone else like to maybe answer that question while we're waiting for Marie?
Carrie, can you repeat the question?
Sure. What new issues and challenges have emerged for your organization as a result of the pandemic?
So this is Jessica from Prosperity. I think for us it seems to impact everything. I don't know if there's anything that it doesn't impact. We're planning a lot of in-person events, and obviously we're thinking about how do we continue doing events, but make them virtual and of value. Obviously things like webinars, can continue in this time, but also thinking about, what does revenue, look like, and where are we, going to get that? We've talked to current funders about shifting some resources that we had received, like Fifth Third, and shifting it to our response rather than what we had originally planned and proposed, and are thankful for pivots like that from funders. And so those kind of conversations are important to be having in this time. And how do we maintain team building. One of the things that we have obviously done is making sure we're at least gathering on Fridays kind of informally and reconnecting for a couple hours, every Friday, recognizing that we're missing all of those little water cooler conversations that we would otherwise have during the week. And so that's a place for us to, kind of, catch up, see my children who pop in nearly every week, but it's just changing everything for us. So I'd be curious to obviously hear from others as well. What else is changing for them?
Amy Thomas, just to let you folks know that if you're on self-mute, to press *6 and it will unmute you. Amy Thomas, are you there?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
I'm with Black and White Investments in Indianapolis, Indiana, on the permanent supportive housing side. I know some of the challenges that we're facing have definitely been mentioned already today. But one of our biggest concerns we've been discussing this morning is the protective equipment for staff as well. On the permanent supportive housing side, trying to be available for the most vulnerable residents. Oftentimes, just we have to be able to be there, meet face to face with these people. And I have been to stores and continue to go to stores every day, just trying to find masks so that we can provide the basic services and keep our buildings in line. So along with all the other challenges of the food and donations, that's something that we are definitely facing by fear of what we can do to help keep staff safe to continue to serve the population that we do serve.
Very good. Thank you. Marie Morris?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. So one thing I found out is that this is Marie Morris from Lafayette, Homestead, and when I'm on remote on my computer at work, that computer doesn't have a mic, even though my laptop does. So apparently that doesn't work. So I'm sorry that I couldn't talk earlier. And that's one of the big things I think that we have had to figure out is technology. We just 4 people. We weren't all set up to work remotely from home. How do we do video conferences with our clients? We found out that, as I just mentioned, many of our computers at work don't have mics or cameras. And so that's just been a huge learning curve for us to be able to do that. Just trying to make sure that we connect with our clients. We do housing counseling and foreclosure prevention. I think that we're going to be swamped when people do go back to work and the foreclosure issues, the hold on foreclosure stop. I think we're going to be very, very busy again. So I also wanted to say it's one of the things I'm concerned about is funding for my staff. And I heard Jessica mention keeping the connection with the staff. I think that's very, very important. We also do weekly conference calls, and actually we call each other just about every day. But I do know that some of my funders have called me to see, what my needs are. They don't have answers for me yet, but they're at least listening. And so, and a couple of grants I had told me that if I couldn't do what I had committed to doing, they would be okay with that. So if people do have grantors and funders, I do recommend, just having conversations with them because they all, we're kind of all in the same boat. Special events are canceled, and I am also concerned what the stock market's going to do to funders. So that there's just a lot going on right now, and so I think open communication is the best thing to do.
Thank you, Marie. Very good information there. Let's go to another poll. How concerned are you about your organization's ability to execute its budget in the current crises? That's our next one. And your choices are not at all concerned, somewhat concerned, or very concerned. So poll is open. Okay. So it looks like 74% of you folks are somewhat concerned, and 19% are very concerned. 7% are not at all concerned. That's an interesting feedback. I didn't think I thought very concerned would be a lot higher, to be honest with you. But what are some of your greatest needs during this particular crisis? Anyone want to take that question? Okay. James Garrett. James, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
One of the concerns that I have, I'm with the Indiana Commission on the Social Status of Black Males, and we have an annual event that's called the Indiana Black Barbershop Health Initiative. And due to this pandemic, we've had to postpone that because it runs during the entire month of April. And so our concern, as we're hearing from Black males across the state, there's a lot of anxiety present, and there are health concerns related to COVID-19. And so we're looking at how this pandemic is going to cause us to have to push back events that we had scheduled for April, May, and June. And will we be able to serve our constituent base in the normal fashion that we have in the past 10 years for the initiative?
Thank you, James. Christy Gillespie.
Hi, this is Christy Gillespie with Planning Plus, a small consulting firm here in the state. I think this question is really for the Prosperity Indiana staff. I've been starting to get a lot of emails from national groups about the federal coronavirus relief bills, and that there have been things in that bill that benefit nonprofits. And I just wondered if you all are, I'm assuming you guys are looking at that, and will you be putting out anything to the members about what nonprofits might be able to access in order for them to get through this coronavirus? Like, are they eligible for some of the small business loans? Will they be able to access some of the supports for employees? And are there specific things just for nonprofits?
This is Jessica, and I do have kids around me, so forgive me if one of them pipes up. But we are looking at the SBA 7A more closely. Our policy director is looking at the entire bill to see impacts, but in particular related to nonprofit payroll supports and other efforts to keep us going. And it will, looks like it will compare where you were in first quarter of last year to first quarter of this year, I believe, as a baseline. Anyway, we don't have all the answers yet, but yes, we're looking into that. It looks like it will be through SBA lending locations where those opportunities will be available. And yes, more to come.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy and Jessica. Anyone else have anything that they'd like to add? What role has your boards been playing during this particular crisis, and how are they helping your organizations to adapt? We know that boards play an important role in not necessarily the day-to-day running of our organizations, but certainly helping us to work our way through challenges and challenging times such as this. So anyone want to take a stab at that? Okay, let's go to another poll here. That poll is: has your organization had to scale back staff during this particular crisis? Yes or no? So 22% of you said yes, and 78% of you said no. Does anyone want to speak about those of you who've had to release staff during this particular time, and what that's done, how that's impacted your organization? Anyone? Okay. How are you ensuring your organization's visibility in terms of your community's needs? How are you ensuring visibility of your organization in your community for people in need at this time? Are you advertising? Are you is information mostly by word of mouth? How are people connecting to your services during this time? James? James, you're self-muted. If you could press *6. There we go.
Sorry about that. Our organization is utilizing technology with the shelter in place. We're having to utilize the website, much more social media, but we're doing it sort of the old-fashioned way. We are actually calling people and trying to use phone trees to stay engaged with individuals, because our commission does not have funds available to advertise and to, if you've been watching TV, you see practically everyone has changed their marketing stance to, talk about how they're keeping you safe and contactless purchase of goods and food items. We don't have that option, so we're having to rely on social media, word of mouth, and also our website.
Very good.
What group are you with? What type of group are you with, James?
I'm sorry, I am with the Indiana Commission on the Social Status of Black Males. We're a state commission.
Thanks for that information, James. Marie? Get Marie back here. Marie, are you on?
I'm unmuted now, I think.
Okay.
I think we're kind of doing the same thing that was just mentioned, because most of our marketing has been, going to organizations and things and talking in front of groups of people. And of course, we can't do that now. So it's been difficult. But one of the things we are doing is just simply calling our clients, and making sure they're okay. And, even some clients, because we do pre-purchase counseling is one of the things we do. So, maybe we haven't talked to them for a few months. So we're using this time to get back with them and talk to them. And just making sure that we updated the 211 in the state to make sure that they know what we're doing, and just various things like that, more Facebook advertising. And but it's difficult because we are mostly word of mouth is the way people hear about us.
Thank you for that. Michelle Fisher noted that they have scaled back on their clerical staff during this particular time. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. Amandula Anderson.
Hi, yeah, this is Amandula Anderson. I'm with IFF or CDFI in Indianapolis. And I think your question about how we're adapting to our clients is a really good one. Some of the things that we've started to do, we do real estate consulting for nonprofits. And so we're just hitting the phone lines again, reconnecting with everyone on the phone and checking in. We're doing a lot of video conferencing with folks, obviously recognizing there are some technology challenges, and we kind of give each other a little grace through all of those Zoom or webinar or Blue Jean calls. But one of the other things that we've been thinking about is, how do we, share some of our best practices with groups through webinars like this. And that's been really interesting to kind of as our team has started to think about really creating more of, we've always had a curriculum that we're using to do our work, but now using that curriculum to reach folks in different streams has been interesting, I think, for our team. And it's kept us all busy, which has been good just to keep our minds off of everything going on.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add to that? Angela Blake? I think you're self-muted, Angela. There you go.
James and Marie pretty much covered what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I was going to add, we are mostly volunteer driven through St. Margaret's House. We only have a staff of about 9, but we have about 115 to 125 volunteers that come through weekly. Most of them are regular volunteers, so we have obviously done without all of them. We discovered about 70% of our volunteers are 65 and older. So right at the beginning of the COVID crisis, we made sure that we asked them to remain home just for their own safety. And then we trickled down to asking 1 or 2 volunteers that were part of like a student internship programs to come in. And then we just figured the risk was too great. So St. Margaret's House staff took it upon themselves to social distance. And then we are the only staff members that are handling food preparation now. So it's just down to the 9 of us on a rotating shift that prepare meals every day. And then I was also going to say pretty much the word of mouth question. Again, James and Marie covered it. We're also adding in with our meals. We have a one sheet that has the information off of our southbendindiana.gov website for the COVID-19 food support. So if we do have guests that need food maybe over the weekend, or maybe they aren't able to make it to us for some reason, there's a list of various locations where they can get food on a regular basis. And we also have a sheet on, precautions about what they can do to help try and keep themselves safe and healthy.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
word of mouth.
Does anyone want to add to that? Well, thank you all for responding to that particular question. We have one final poll here. How has the demand for your program changed? The responses are decreased dramatically, decreased minimally, no impact, increased minimally, or increased dramatically. So we'll launch that poll right now. Okay. So it looks like half of you have said, 26% of you said it decreased minimally, and 26% of you have said it increased minimally, while 18% of you said it decreased dramatically, 18% said it's had no impact, and 12% increased dramatically. Can anyone speak to the decreases either dramatically or minimally, and how that's impacted your organization and its programming? How about those who've seen increases? Can you share with us what kind of increases in terms of need that people are experiencing, and how you're dealing with those particular needs? Nikki, Nikki Gilbert?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just
Hi,
fine.
this is Nikki Gilbert with Anthem Medicaid. We've seen an increase in people just trying to get connected with resources about getting on Indiana Medicaid. So we've reached out to community organizations to let them know, people who have never needed Medicaid or health insurance due to a loss of job as now needing that. So we've been connecting with community organizations to advise them on how they can connect with Indiana Medicaid and go to FSSA to apply. So it's been a greater need, and we're just trying to educate different organizations on how to connect and apply for health insurance.
Thank you very much for that information, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people go to apply for these benefits?
It's a couple different ways. You can connect through Covering Kids and Family and a lot of different navigators all over the state. Go directly online to FSSA's website to apply. And you can also call FSSA, their 1-800 number, which is 1-800-403-0864. So there's a lot of different ways, and I can share my email if anyone has any direct questions about Medicaid enrollment.
Great, thank you for that. Do you feel your organizations could be doing more to help respond to the needs in the community, and if so, how?
Was that question directed to me?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was directed to anyone, actually. Is it even possible at this particular time during this crisis to do more to help individuals in need within your communities? Is this not, for some of your organizations, is this not the right time to expand your programming? Amandula?
Hey, Carrie. Yeah, I think that, I mean, when I think of just our organization directly, I think about like the things I'm hearing on the call right now from the nonprofit. And I think Christy had a really good question about like, being able to really quickly understand the stimulus package, what the funders are thinking, and have access to do, and being able to be nimble in this time and quick to be able to respond. I think it feels a lot like the opportunity zone conversations where we were given this big work of information and we needed professionals to help us to review and be able to break it down. And so for me, one of the things I've been challenging some of my partners at our organization is to think about like, what does the SBA loan product mean and how can we figure out and communicate what opportunities there are for nonprofits? Because I think a lot of the resources right now seem really geared towards the small businesses, and just being able to have those conversations with nonprofits so that we can understand how or what's available, I think is still a little bit new to me, and I'd love more information. So we've been challenging ourselves to kind of dig into that a little bit more. But I'm really looking forward to what your guidance is going to be about that, and what others have to say, because I think that's really important.
Very good response. Thank you. Marie Morris.
Hi, this is Marie again. That was an excellent thing. I'm also trying very hard to keep up with all the federal regulations, not only for my not-for-profit, but what's available to our clients, which I'm sure everyone is, and it's kind of overwhelming because, we're always also trying to figure out how to keep our organizations going and keep our clients taken care of. But we are also looking at possibly expanding some of our programs because we do have some programs that aren't available in other counties. And we've had a few conversations about doing that because we're finding that maybe they're needed. And this crisis is making that clear. And so we are looking into that. And this is kind of a time we're using because we are, as a housing counseling agency, we're also a CDFI. Some of our clients aren't thinking about buying houses right this second, or they're not thinking about their mortgage because they know they have this hold on foreclosures. And so I'm telling my staff to just buckle down and, be ready for this, what I think is going to be an onslaught in a few months, but be very ready for that. So we're looking at our classes that we teach. We're looking at, how we best connect with clients, and we're looking at possibly expanding a program or two into other counties.
Excellent. Thank you, Marie.
This is Jessica.
Other comments?
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jessica.
Oh, I was just, I don't want to spend too much time since there are others who want to speak, but, I think just watching businesses pivot in this time, restaurants that are now pantries, car makers that are now ventilator makers, businesses are created to solve problems, and nonprofits are created to solve problems as well. And so I just urge folks to reconsider what the problem is that you exist to solve, and it may look a little differently than it needs to still fit with your mission, but it could look a little differently in terms of how you strategize and how you respond. So there may be many of us who are doing something completely different than what you did 2 weeks ago, and that's okay. And that's actually, I think, encouraged, and it speaks to innovation and why you exist, why you are important now, and just rethink or be willing to rethink. Some of us, the work that you've been doing is far more needed now. You just keep delivering the way you always have, but some of us need to think about what's the different twist on this, and what do you need to do differently now?
Great question.
And I think I interrupted someone else who was trying to speak at the same time.
One of the things that, let's see, who sent this question here? Angela Blake mentioned was a personal wish and most improbable addition to our current services would be meal delivery for those of our guests who face food insecurity, especially those who may be facing issues around steady employment at the moment. Thank you for that, Angela. Many of you have mentioned Prosperity Indiana breaking down the stimulus legislation, which, as Jessica mentioned, will be doing that. But what other ways can Prosperity Indiana what can we do to support you in this particular crisis? Any way we can support you other than with what we've mentioned? Just wanted to let you know too that we do have a resources hub on our website, which you can go to. You'll find information there on a wide range of topics. Please look through that. Please add to that as you're able. You'll find a recording of this particular session today that will be on there, as well as notes from our previous webinar that we hosted last Monday. Also, if you haven't been to our Facebook, please do so. We have several groups on our Facebook that you are able to join and to add to the discussion around topics such as affordable housing, management, and leadership. So please visit our Facebook page as well. Does anyone have any further questions, comments, ideas that they wish to share? Other colleagues to take that with them? Michaela Wishmeyer?
Hi everyone, this is Michaela. I'm with Prosperity, and we just got a resource in from Beth Field. She contacted us on Facebook that the U.S. Chamber Foundation will be hosting a webinar today, and it's a briefing on the emergency coronavirus for 501c3 nonprofits, and that's today at 12:30. I will try to locate a link to get that added on our COVID-19 resource hub. So, and list that on the main page. We have a section at the bottom where I have started adding in webinars hosted by peers or other agencies. So if you do have additional resources or things you're finding helpful too, just like Beth did, please feel free to reach out and send us an email. We're really trying to curate valuable information that can really help us all out during this time.
And Michaela, can you share with folks what that email address is for folks to send information for us to post on the Resources Hub?
Yeah, so we've got a direct hyperlink on the Resource Hub that you can click, but the email is covidresponse@prosperityindiana.org.
Thank you. Christy Gillespie?
Hi, this is Christy Gillespie. I just wanted to share with everybody, literally during this conference call, I got an email from the National Council of Nonprofits, and they're holding a webinar tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, and they're going to do an analysis of the relief bills, and they're specifically going to talk about loans available to nonprofits under the Act. And it looks like a whole bunch of other things related to employment supports that may be helpful. They say it's a 90-minute webinar. I don't know if there's a cost. It doesn't look like there is, but I can Jessica, should I forward this to you so you can add it, or?
That'd be great.
Okay.
And yeah, but until we, so there are already known products that are. Sorry, one of the challenges, I have a child here with me. So there are two products out. The one that is already out, you're not eligible to apply for both. And the newer one out, I believe is forgivable. So yeah, I would not do anything, not file for anything today until we see more details on that other product that is out there. So yeah, please send that to me and we'll get it.
James Garrett.
Yeah, I was referring back to the question, you posed about what could Prosperity Indiana do. It's just sharing of resources and getting as much information out that can be helpful to not-for-profits or state, local organizations like myself that we can share. I am not an expert on COVID-19. That's not my area of expertise, but there are far more questions that are posed to myself and the commission than I have answers to, but it's always nice and appreciated where we can refer people to resources and where they can get more information, whether it's on food pantries and food services or information on what do they do if they can't pay their rent or their mortgage. And those are many of the questions that we're getting.
Thank you for that, James.
And we are assembling as much of that as possible. So the more folks can send stuff to us, the more we can put that on our hub and Facebook group.
Martin Mecklenburg mentioned that he thinks that it's just good to stay in touch with one another through these kinds of webinars. Again, that's what we are trying to do here, is just to allow for peer sharing, allow for information exchange to occur. And so we will be having additional webinars on Mondays. Next week, we'll have a webinar from 10 to 11 on how to manage your organization in these particular times of crises. And we'll have a guest speaker for that. So please stay tuned for more information that will come your way this week with regards to that particular webinar. Does anyone have any further questions, comments, or ideas that they'd like to share? We've got a hand up here. Let me find that. Nope, they put their hand down. Well, Mohammed, would you like to add something?
Yes. This is Mohammed Marzouk from IU Health. I am in the engagement team, community outreach and engagement. And I would like to share a resource for everyone. It's called findhelp.org, findhelp.org. And this one helps you find food assistance, help paying bills, and other free or reduced cost programs, including new programs for COVID-19 pandemic. And then the way you can get help is by your zip code. So you just plug in your zip code of the area you live in, and you get all the resources, all the organizations that are providing all the assistance to the community.
That's a wonderful resource. Thank you. That's findhelp.org. Findhelp.org. And as Mohammed said, you plug in your zip code and can find the resources within your area. So thank you for that.
You are most welcome. Thank you.
Other information? All right, well, we really thank everyone for their participation today. We hope you will come back next week and participate in our webinar. Again, that will be Monday, April the 6th from 10 to 11, and we'll focus on how to manage your organizations in times of crises. If no one has anything else they would like to add, we'd just like to wish you a great day, and thank you again for participating. Have a good day, everyone.
Mhm.